Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. I am Ronke Kolawole. Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki says President Muhammadu Buhari is healthy and there is no cause for alarm. He made this known after his visit to President Buhari in Abuja House in London. The Senate President was accompanied by the Speaker, House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, and Leader of Senate, Ahmad Lawan. Bukola Saraki says the President's absence and imminent return shows that there is no vacuum in government and the system of democracy is working with all organs of government, fulfilling his mandate. The award of contracts for the reconstruction of 12 roads in some parts of the country with emphasis on development of infrastructure for national growth was the focus of this week's Federal Executive Council meeting. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reports.
Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola read out the names of the roads to be reconstructed and rehabilitated in Adamawa, Bauchi, Enugu, Kaduna and Kano states.
Doka-Gulu Road in Rimingado local government in Kano, the Tudo Wuswandi Barazan Zumbu Pochi Road in Bauchi, the Young Hola Mobi Road in Adamawa, the Maraba Mudi Maragali Michika Askira Guazo linking Adamawa and Borno states, Patigi Pada Road in Kwara, Cham Numan section of Gombe-Yola Road in Adamawa State, linking Gombe and Adamawa States.
Minister of Health Isaac Adewale announced the approval of a new national policy on health.
That is the third in the history of this country. The first was in 1988, the second in 2004, and we are having the third now. The title of the policy is promoting the health of Nigerians to accelerate socio-economic development. This new policy will provide the direction necessary to support the achievement of significant progress in terms of improving the performance of the national system. It also lays emphasis on primary care as the bedrock of our national system, in addition to the provision of financial risk protection to all Nigerians, particularly the poor and the most vulnerable group.
For most part of the 7 hours the meeting lasted, which was presided over by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, strategies for the implementation of the new National Economic Plan took the center stage, with immediate focus on agriculture, energy, industrialization, transportation, and stabilizing the business environment.
The proposed initiatives outlined in the plan are designed to address the country's poor competitiveness, improve the business environment, and attract investment in infrastructure, especially power, roads, rail, and ports. Jobs and social inclusion are also key focus areas. We spent a lot of time looking at implementation because that is the key. And one of the means of ensuring implementation is to have a delivery unit which will be in the presidency.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In other news, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed is advocating more funds for the ministry to enhance productivity in the sector, especially for the grassroots public enlightenment for more commitment to national development. He explained this and others at Budget Defense session of the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Lanium reports.
Presenting the 2017 budget proposal of the ministry, which is 7.936 billion naira, covering personnel overhead and capital costs. Minister Lai Mohammed noted that the 2016 budget estimates did not make provisions for some capital projects, such as the town hall meetings. He said the year's capital budget is targeting programs that will enhance active citizen participation and make the ministry efficient in discharging its mandate.
Whereas the information sector is the live wire of democratic governance, and constitutes the bridge between the government and their government, public information management has been constrained in the last 5 years due largely to poor funding, which has hampered organized and speedy collaboration, processing and dissemination of information or government activities.
While the members sought clarification on some items as purchase of vehicles, they also pleaded with the minister to see how the capital budget of the National Orientation Agency could be increased.
The committees on 2016 budget performance oversight of this committee to these agencies revealed that most of them are operating with obsolete equipment that speak negatively about Nigerians as a nation. Even agencies whose mandate is on advocacy and public alignment could not discharge their duty due to lack of funds.
Other agencies under the ministry had taken turn to defend their budgets. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board has appeared before the House Committee on Local Content to defend its budget. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim again reports.
It is called for more funding to Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board is against the backdrop of the need to promote productivity in the local manufacturing industries. Lamenting the shortfall of 1.1 billion naira in personnel cost of the 2017 budget proposal of the board, the committee ascertained that such situation could adversely affect input of the board into the nation's economy, especially now with the government's economic diversification drive. The committee also explained that review of the establishment laws will further reposition the board to function effectively in all sectors of the economy.
The board will work something out with the committee so that we can maybe go by way of advocacy to the budget office, so that the budget office can understand the needs, can also understand what local content board is doing, the reason why local content board should be giving more money instead of reducing their personnel cost.
The board explained that its 2017 capital budget of 537 million naira will go into research development, acquisition of computer softwares and other office equipment.
ICT, in my view, is an area that we will continue to focus on because we are in Yenagua, as an example, and most of the oil companies are not in Yenagua. And if you don't improve your ICT, we are on the top of their desk, they will access data. It means everybody will begin to travel to Yenagua and it will become absolutely ineffective.
The committee also enjoined the board to ensure adequate inclusion of local content in the ICT development in all sectors of the economy. From National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
From the National Assembly, we go to Kano, where a peaceful rally in support of President Muhammadu Buhari's fight against corruption has been held. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that hundreds of youths took part in the rally tagged "I Stand with Buhari."
These are supporters of President Muhammadu Buhari under the umbrella of "I Stand with Buhari" for good governance in Nigeria. The rally, which began from Zoo Road, Meriguru Road, advanced to State Road and terminated at the southern gate of the Emir's Palace with placards indicating support for the present administration. Chairman of the 19 northern states and Kano coordinator for "I Stand with Buhari," Kabir Ishaq Said says, corruption has been the bane of Nigeria's development, hence the need to support President Buhari in the fight against corruption.
The reason why we hold this rally is to show our total support to President Muhammadu Buhari and to keep praying for him and Nigeria in general. We held a rally in Abuja yesterday and we hold it today. Tomorrow we are going to hold it in Kaduna State, and the last city is Lagos State.
On the success against insurgency in the northeast geopolitical zone, the coordinator appealed for more support and prayers to bring an end to the menace.
This is a clear demonstration and support of the present administration in the fight against
corruption and good governance. The youth also observed 2 rakat prayer for the quick recovery of President Muhammad Buhari. From Kano, Muhammad Rabi Ali, NTA News.
And in appreciation of the developmental changes being provided by the present administration, APC stakeholders in Adamawa State came together in a town hall meeting to draw support and launch Buhari Osinbajo again for the 2019 presidential election. Simon Asher reports.
The meeting, which is the first of its kind in Adamawa State since the inception of Buhari Osinbajo-led APC government, is aimed at supporting the federal government in its achievement in curbing prolonged crisis, insecurity, corruption and impunity, among others, which has bedeviled the country over the years. Citing numerous examples with the achievement of President Muhammadu Buhari's late government, the chairman of the campaign organization, Yaya Ahmed Julde, says, winning the fight against insurgency, rescuing 24 Chibok girls, revamping the agricultural sector, fighting corruption to the barest minimum, and the appointment given to illustrious sons and daughters of Adamawa State by the federal government. The APC stakeholders say it is necessary to draw support for the federal government and launch the Buhari Osinbajo again come 2019 presidential election.
And the essence of this gathering is to support our dear president, the leader of the nation, the leader of this country, with the good job that he has started for Nigerians, especially the masses. We want to support him 2019, and we want to launch Buhari Osinbajo 2019 again, Buhari Osinbajo again.
The stakeholders were also at the APC State Secretariat to intimate the state chairman, Ibrahim Belal, on their intention, where the chairman commended them for a job well done. High point of the town hall meeting was the distribution of Buhari Osinbajo again posters to kickstart their campaign. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
The Federal Minister of Finance has dedicated a telephone line for receiving short message service, SMS, otherwise called text messages, a whistleblower's portal, and an email address which are displayed on the screen, through which members of the public volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation can deliver such information. The information given will then be processed by a team dedicated for the purpose. The telephone line, SMS and portal are in response to inquiries by patriotic Nigerians on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud following the approval of the whistleblower policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun. Time now to go over to our Lagos Network Center with the latest stories with Abdullahi standing by. Hello, Abdullahi.
Good afternoon, Ronke. Thanks for joining us in Lagos. The Lagos State government has disclosed plans to generate up to 3,000 megawatts of power within the next 7 years. The state governor, Akinwumi Ambode, made the disclosure during the presentation of Lagos State Embedded Power Technical Committee report at the State House in Ikeja, Lagos. Nosasula reports.
According to the governor, the intervention is to ensure generation of up to 3,000 megawatts of power through accelerated deployment of various embedded power plants in strategic locations in the state within 3 to 7 years.
When the federal government continues in its efforts to resolve the power crisis, it has become very clear that the problems in the energy sector can no longer be left in the hands of the federal government to solve. The sustainable solution going forward is one that pulls together the commitment and resources of all stakeholders in the power value chain.
The state earlier, speaking on behalf of the committee, the chairman Eco Distribution Company, Charles Momo, commended the state government for the initiative, noting that if power was supplied in Lagos, it would affect the country as a whole. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
The German Armed Forces has reiterated its commitment to assist Nigerian Navy through capacity building to enhance the fight against security challenges facing the country. This was made known during a courtesy visit by a team from the German Armed Forces General Staff College to the Western Naval Command in Lagos. Rotimi Uluagbemi reports.
The visit, according to the leader of the team from the German Armed Forces, is to understand the differences in military operations between African countries and Germany. The team leader also promised the support of the German Armed Forces in the efforts of Nigerian Navy to restore peace in the Niger Delta region.
The problems, let's say, we have to deal with military in a NATO situation is quite different from the problems you have to deal here in Africa. So to understand all these little differences, I think it's very valuable to make these kind of trips.
Since we are convinced that the Nigerian Navy knows best which material they need, and that is the Epanol boats built in your country, so we thought we can solve the problem this way by increasing their operation capacities, but also at the same time improving or helping the Nigerian economy to come up again.
The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Fagusi Bubai, commended the German team for the visit. He assured them of Nigeria's Navy's plan to collaborate with other security agencies to fight piracy on the nation's waterways.
Besides the military hardware, we must be looking at human capital development. So if there are areas that could help train our personnel, why not?
There was a brief presentation on the activities of the Western Navy Command and a presentation of gifts. In Lagos, Rotimi Uluagbemi, NTA News.
A seamless synergy between the Nigeria police and civil society group is capable of eradicating jungle justice and other societal menaces across the country. This was the conclusion of the Inspector General of Police, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 2, Kayode Aderonti, and a non-governmental organization, Center for Change, at a sensitization forum on mob action in Lagos. Musa Toliet reports.
The sensitization forum, organized by the Center for Change, focused on imperatives of police-citizen relations in curbing the spate of violence against persons. President, Center for Change, Joe Okeodumakin, said it is pertinent to sensitize police officers and the rank and file to take action and respond swiftly when cases of jungle justice and all forms of violence against persons are reported.
We have to act. Let people realize that impunity can never ever be tolerated, and anyone that joins in mob action will also be culpable.
Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2 Command Headquarters, Kayode Aderonti, told the officers that the culture of impunity which emboldens perpetrators of jungle justice must be curbed in line with the dictates of the law.
I can assure members of the public that whenever we have cases like that, police will move swiftly, will effect arrest, we investigate and check whether it's culpable to court.
AIG Aderonti, however, assured his men of adequate compensation in the event of fatality recorded while carrying out their constitutional responsibilities. Thereafter, the AIG presented checks to families of police officers who lost their lives in active duty in 2016.
We want to assure you of the Bureau of Police that we'll be there for you always.
I appreciate what they have done for me and my family. They are doing a good thing to us. They have helped us. Appreciate what police have done in the life of the Winters.
In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And Musa's reports ends the news from here. It's back to Ronke, who has more stories in Abuja. Ronke, over to you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Lack of legislative backing for national policy on research, science and technology innovation are impediments to research efforts in Nigeria. This was part of the resolution at the end of a 3-day Made in Nigerian Army Research and Innovation Summit in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Nigeria, a developing country, requires enhanced sustainable technology to further improve the socio-economic well-being of its citizens. The event, an assembly of researchers, scientists, and technologists, provided a platform for the Nigerian Army to work towards self-reliance in hard and software operational requirements.
The summit has therefore set the tone for the Nigerian Army to leverage these initiatives towards self-sufficiency in its continuous efforts in building a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles.
To actualize the quest for technological advancement, The forum called for proper funding of research work.
Identify the need for national research institutes to collaborate with DICOM and other military workshops and institutions to improve research and innovation in the armed forces.
That by now we should be producing military hardware, but this has not been possible. Why? Because, well, if you say hardware, you are talking of iron and steel. We lack the iron and steel producing means in the country. Ajaokuta Steel Company is not functioning, but we hope it will soon come up on stream. The Delta Steel is moribund.
Apart from projections for closer collaboration between the military and participating private, foreign and local organizations, the platform also focused on the need for technology transfer and adaptation. From the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Well done, Ismail. There is no going back in the introduction of computer-based tests for candidates seeking admission into higher institutions across the country. The Registrar, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, stated this in a two-day retreat for stakeholders in the education sector held in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Hakim Jimo now reports.
While addressing the participants, Professor Oloyede said that computer-based tests for students in Nigeria had come to stay, calling on stakeholders, especially parents and potential candidates, to key into the global trend of information and computer technology. The JAM registrar said the board had perfected the processes of total elimination of paper-based tests for candidates seeking for admission into higher institutions of learning.
Testing certain things, we are changing certain things. We want to question the status quo. And of course, we expect a fight back from interests that will be trampled upon.
While noting that the prospected 1.5 million candidates for this year's examination would be adequately taken care of, Professor Oloyede added that a number of vendors will be drafted in to reduce the bottlenecks involved in the processes of registration. He, however, cautioned potential candidates against buying of admission forms from unregistered vendors who may want to utilize the opportunity to defraud them through multiple sale of admission forms.
I think what JAB is trying to do is to give everybody a fair playing field, a good playing field. So there are different vendors that will come and offer their service.
The papers presented included the relevance of automation of reports on test administration, platform for vending, mode of ticketing, and importance of central admissions processing system. Thereafter, former President Olusegun Obasanjo interacted with the participants in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
And still talking education, Kaduna State Government has received donation of 5,000 customized computers from 2 corporate organizations to raise the standard of education in the state. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
Students can learn at the way of exams, pass questions, they can time themselves and put themselves in real exam environment.
In an effort to revamp education in Kaduna State, Governor Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai introduced Smart Education Initiative aimed at providing students with digital educational resources like tablets and computers to enhance their educational capability in information communication technology. While receiving the tablets, Governor Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai said already agreement have been reached to purchase 30,000 additional tablets to be distributed to 13 secondary schools across the state.
The work is just starting. We have 345 secondary schools. We're only starting with 13 of them. But if the experiment works, then we'll be able to scale it up to other schools.
The 5,000 tablets donated came with academic curriculum textbooks, questions and solutions of WAEC, NECO and JAM examinations to enable the students perform better in their exams. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Cuban ambassador to Nigeria has tasked Nigerian government to sustain the tempo in the transformation of the education sector and ensure that the socio-economic well-being of our citizens is accorded top priority at all times. Fatima Tankokuta sent in the reports.
The symposium, with the theme Fidel Castro and the Struggle for National Independence, the Passage of an Era, aims at educating students of political science and other Nigerians on the leadership qualities of the late Cuban leader and the lesson Nigeria should learn to better her lot. A lecture delivered by the ambassador dwelt on how the Cuban Revolution assisted greatly in transforming the country that today has become a force to reckon with in so many respects, a strategy he noted Nigeria can copy to develop some of her critical sectors like health, agriculture, and education.
Fidel Castro died, and he didn't die in a big mansion. He died in a small house, very small house, with no land, with nothing, and he was a very rich man.
Various speakers at the event eulogized the late Fidel Castro.
The Cuban leader also helped many third world countries in terms of support for education, which Cuba has excelled.
Castro became a symbol of justice.
He was truly a great figure.
The late Cuban leader was born on August 13, 1926, a lawyer by profession who led the Cuban Revolution that transformed the island into the first communist state in the Western Hemisphere, died in 2016.
We now join Zainab in our Sokoto Network Center for trending stories from that zone. Hello, Zainab.
Hello, Ronke, and thank you for joining us. The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, has called for support to Nigerian farmers if the current agricultural revolution taking place in the country is to succeed. He commended the federal government and the private sector for embarking on the new agricultural initiative aimed at ensuring massive food production in the country. Mohammed Nasir reports that the Sultan was speaking in Sokoto at the flag-off of the Dangote Rice Outgrowers Scheme.
Less than half of the 6.5 million tons of rice is produced locally in Nigeria, and the deficit is imported at the cost of $2 billion annually. The outgrower scheme by Dangote Group of Companies, targeted at producing 1 million tons of rice, is designed through cultivating 160,000 hectares of irrigable farmland in some selected states to make the commodity affordable to ordinary Nigerians. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar Dasad underscored the initiative by Dangote Group of Companies to venture into agriculture with the aim of making food available to all Nigerians. Flagging up the scheme in Sokoto State, the State Governor Amin Waziri Tambuwal described it as welcome development that will enhance food security and provide job opportunities to many Nigerians. He urged farmers to benefit under the program to make judicious use of the opportunity. President Dangote Group of Companies Alhaji Aliko Dangote said his decision to embark on outgrower scheme was aimed at answering clarion call by President Muhammadu Buhari for everyone to go back to farm. He said 25,000 hectares of land will be cultivated and all needed farm inputs will be provided to farmers that will participate in the scheme in Sokoto State.
Today, rice is the most important food commodity in Nigeria as a result of changing consumer habits and population growth. Nigeria consumes over 6.5 million tons of rice annually, but less than half of it is being produced locally.
In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
Still on agriculture, the National Assembly has reaffirmed its commitment towards ensuring effective implementation of the federal government's various intervention programs in the agricultural sector. A member of the House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture, Manuel Baba Danagundi, stated this when he led some other members of the committee on an oversight visit to Zamfara State. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Less than half of the 6.5 million tons of rice is produced locally in Nigeria, and the deficit is imported at the cost of $2 billion annually. The outgrower scheme by Dangote Group of Companies, targeted at producing 1 million tons of rice, is designed through cultivating 160,000 hectares of irrigable farmland in some selected states to make the commodity affordable. Less than half of the 6.5 million tons of rice is produced locally in Nigeria, and the deficit is imported at the cost of.
We do apologize for that mix-up. Cancrum oris patients who were operated on by foreign surgeons are recuperating at the Noma Children's Hospital, Sokoto. Mohammed Nasir visited the hospital and has the details.
Less than half of the 6.5 million tons of rice is produced locally in Nigeria.
Under the program, the federal government pays 50 and...
We seem to be having some difficulties with our visuals in Sokoto Network Center. We apologize for that. And moving on now, ahead of the 2018 Population and Housing Census, the National Population Commission FCT office has flagged off the enumeration and area demarcation exercise in Gwagwalada Area Council. FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello urged the enumerators to provide the territory with adequate data for development. Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu has the details.
Enumeration area demarcation is the division of the country into smaller units that can be conveniently covered by a group of enumerators during the census period. It involves numbering of houses and dividing them into enumeration areas using satellite image maps. Representative of the FCT Minister, Mr. Kevin Ike, said accurate data is key to national planning.
Anything that has to do with population stands to be the pivot on which the administration's planning, management, and budgeting stands, because we budget for the people, we plan for the people, we also work for the people.
We are preparing for another round of census, hopefully by the first quarter of 2018. And we are now, as you know, we are now living in a global village, and we want to adopt a global standard.
It is this program that will determine the strength and the population of the people of Gwagwalada Area Council. So we have tremendously planned, and we are going to support in all ramifications to see that these people succeeded.
Some of the enumerators said they are ready to carry out their duty without fear or favor. The field work for the third phase of the enumeration area demarcation EAD will commence from the 20th of February to 12th March 2017. Only houses will be counted and not people. In Abuja, Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
And now to Osun State, where the government says it will commence periodic census of cattle and herdsmen in the state as part of efforts at ensuring better relations between herdsmen and farmers. Governor Rauf Aregbesola said this at Anilapa Community, Olaoluwa local government area, when he inspected the rice cultivation program there. Olabo Diarewa is the report.
The Osun Rice Training Farm Settlement at Onilapa, outskirts of Ogbagba Town, accommodates 250 registered farmers who cultivate local varieties of rice on 160 hectares. In the last few years, they have enjoyed various financial facilities from both the state and federal governments to boost their production. Now that they are in the pre-planting season, Governor Rauf Aregbesola visited them to see how government could do more to ensure greater yield. The governor charged the farmers to adopt modern methods of crop planting and livestock production, such as the use of quality seeds and cattle ranching. He said his government would periodically do a head count of herdsmen and cattle in the state for planning and food security purposes. The forum also provided an opportunity for the farmers to share their concerns and current trends.
They said quality seeds is putting. We cannot reach there. And we want to reach the economic of state. If we have quality seeds, enable environment in terms of tractorization and all that.
Because for us it's a business. And we've taken these years to try and learn. Because where we are going, ultimately, God willing, is to set up a rice mill in Osun.
The state government has a vision to support rice farmers towards increasing their rice yields to about 7 tons per hectare and developing sustainable processing facilities. In Onilapa, Olaoluwa local government area, Olabo Diarewa, NTA News.
Immediate past Force Public Relations Officer and now Commissioner of Police Akwa Ibom State, Dawn Awuna, has urged the Nigerian media to partner the police in delivering its agenda of democratic policing. Mr. Awuna stated this at the former handing over to the new Force PRO, Mashood Jimo. Edino Justice has that report.
CP Don Awuna, while recalling his time as the force spokesman, said he owed his success to the trust that the IGP Ibrahim Idris reposed in him and cooperation from the media. He enjoined the staff and the media to extend same to his successor, CSP Moshood Jimo, saying the office is challenging.
Police process democracy, and the only government institution that is visible everywhere in all corners and crannies of this country is the police.
We equally use this opportunity to plead on the members of the public, especially public-spirited individuals that have been assisting the police with useful information that have led to so many success stories, to continue to do so. We want them to know that police is your friend and they should support police deployed in their localities.
Meanwhile, Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmad has urged Mr. Jimo to continue to exhibit the sterling qualities he is known for in his new assignment and be a good ambassador of the state. This is contained in a congratulatory letter. CSP Jimo took over as the Substantive Force Public Relations Officer on 30th of January. Edina Justice, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. We have more on Nationwide after these messages. Do stay.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Love is in the air, and your rib-cracking comedy series, Professor John Bull, examines the follies, the foibles, and the realities of Valentine's Day.
My baby Flash will fly like a dash of awesome cash. My heart is loving you today, no clash.
I'm here to take my baby out for a bash, man. It's Valentine. We're going to wine and dine, man.
What is love to Carol?
If you give Carol this thing, he will insult you. You know nothing about love.
You must not shop some things to buy there.
What is love to Professor John Bull?
Love is like a fire. Handle it well, it can light up your life. Handle it carelessly, it can burn you to death.
Find out how love swings in Be My Vow episode of Professor John Bull.
The love I get for you, even me self the fear. Samu, as you are strong, you don't love girl like that.
Professor John Bull, laugh like never before.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mass leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more. Other information and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on ntap2000@yahoo.com. Call us on 080-2316-3474 or 080-6939-5185 or 070-3189-0555. NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, the much needed help at your doorstep.
In season 1, when we met 13-year-old orphan Samuel, who thought his future was uncertain, but Airtel empowered his older sisters with a startup hairdressing business. Today, their circumstances have changed for the better. And we meet Destiny and Esther from Lokoja in Kogi State.
The life I was living in Delta State, it wasn't good for a child like me when I was growing up. It was violent because of the beatings.
Steps required to activate a free TV decoder. Connect the set-top box to an external aerial and follow the on-screen welcome message. After a successful scanning, the box will detect services. To activate your digital TV pass, SMS your unique ID number to 090-999-66669. Then send. Or call the toll-free line 080-0388-7277 or the paid line 070-0388-7277 and follow the instructions using your mobile phone. Your box will receive entitlement refresh and should start showing all the TV channels. Free TV, brought to you by NBC.
Glad to know you're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, reaching you live from Abuja. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has arrested 3 SIM card registration agents for not operating in a controlled environment. Miriam Emeka Amadi reports that 7 SIM card registration machines were confiscated during the Commission's enforcement exercise.
Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, gave a directive to all mobile network operators with effects from February 1st, 2017, to provide a controlled environment for their SIM card registration agents. This is to forestall the use of pre-registered SIM card to carry out criminal activities.
This controlled environment means a permanent structure, a structure that can be traced, a location that can be identified, and also that the registration agents manning these centers are expected to have identity as well.
The head of the enforcement team said it is the responsibility of the mobile network operators to enlighten their agents, as non-compliance attracts a penalty of 5 million naira and 500,000 naira per day if the penalty is not paid within the stipulated time.
The direction was issued since November 2016. That is barely 4 months now. So there is adequate time between November to date for the operators to notify all their agents and dealers.
One of the suspects said he is not a licensed SIM card registration agent.
The business is not mine. My own business is selling things.
NCC says further investigation on the suspects will be conducted by the police, while the enforcement exercise will continue in other areas. Miriam Emeka Amadi, NTA News.
Individuals and groups have been advised to join hands with government to give the Nigerian child at least basic education. A non-government organization gave the advice at the Kuchingoro Galadima IDP camp during a program tagged Early Child Development, as reported by Basi Itaipan.
I want to be a doctor.
Why?
Because to save people's life. I want to be a farmer, a doctor,
be a pastor.
Lofty aspirations for Peter, Mercy, Precious, and Godwin. But can the aspirations be realized given the learning and teaching environments they find themselves in?
That's why we're here, and that keeps pushing us, because we have to be at par in the community of nations. We have to make sure that our population is not against us and is for us.
How do you get quality education? The children were also educated on some of the sustainable development goals, which Raymond noted will help them grow up knowing the right decisions to take in life.
There are actually 5 P's in the Sustainable Development Goals. And each of these P is very important. Is it the P for the partnership? Is it the P for the peace? Is it the P for the prosperity? And all what of it. You have to do well.
Teachers at the IDP camps are mainly volunteer youth corps members whose passion is to ensure the children have access to basic education. Basi Taipang, NTA News.
And taking more reports now, the agriculture and agro-processing sector in Nigeria has been identified as one with vast potential with job creation prospects. But to enable this sector to provide increasing growth in Nigeria, analysts believe that evidence-based policy has contributions to make. Justin Bem only reports that a research policy committee forum was held in Abuja to close the observed gap between research and policy formulation.
Despite the fact that Nigeria has great potentials in agriculture and agro-allied industries, records, however, show that converting the potentials to realizable objectives in the sector is at the lowest ebb. For instance, with 68 million hectares of arable land in the country, only 33 million is said to be cultivated. A mere 7% of the estimated 3.14 million hectares irrigable land area is cultivated. With these abundant resources, however, annual food imports bill is put at $22 billion. Addressing the limitations of employment creation potentials of the sector in the context of inclusive growth necessitated the establishment and sustenance of a vibrant research policy community called Utafiti Sera in Nigeria, a mechanism that provides opportunities for new ways of thinking and collaborating.
I think first is to create the synergy between research and the policymakers, so that we both put heads together. We provide from the research perspective the information, the strategies, policies that we think would make things work.
The only way we can reduce employment in this country today is through agriculture. And the Institute of Legislative Studies are organizing this forum to educate the public on the best way to move agriculture forward.
The forum will propose, among other things, step-by-step policy actions on consolidation of institutions and resources in the agri sector for job creation, as well as policy and institutional framework for enhancing youth employment in agribusiness. In Abuja, Justin Bem, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. Kemi has the next report in our Ibadan Network Center. Hello, Kemi. It's over to you.
Okay, and welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State government says it will leave no stone unturned to ensure the students of public schools in the state are morally and academically upright. To this end, the Committee on Community Relations has apprehended not less than 11 students for roaming the streets during school hours. Adebola Ogunlano has the report.
About 11 students were caught roaming the streets when they were supposed to be in the school. The two of them from Bishop Onobanjo Memorial School were caught along Transformer Ashi Bodija Road around 11:30 in the morning, coming out from a building with some boys with the excuse that they went to charge their phones. Other sets of students of St. Luke Grammar School and Community Grammar School Malete were also apprehended. Residents of these areas said it has been the practice of some of the students not to stay in school, thereby turning into miscreants in the environment.
To try to continue something like this thing will be stopped.
Members of the committee, led by SA to the Governor on Community Relations, Abidemi Shiobade, said this is just the beginning of the exercise.
This government is roaming the streets. Parents will call their children to order. This is not a one-off thing. We will continue.
We are not going to be able to eradicate this totally, but to a good level, we should be able to reduce truancy.
They called on parents, teachers, and stakeholders to support government in reforming the standard of education and behavior of students in Ibadan. Adebola Ogunlana, NTA News.
Medical experts have advocated that societal leaders should help clamor for stoppage of female genital mutilation to prevent untimely death of girls and mothers. In this report, Femi Afolabi takes a look at dangers of the practice in Nigeria.
Female genital mutilation comprises all procedures that involve altering or injuring the female genitalia for non-medical reasons. It reflects deep-rooted inequality between genders and constitutes an extreme form of discrimination against women and girls. Experts explain that genital mutilation imposed on some women denies them of their dignity, endangers their health, and causes needless pain and suffering with consequences that endures for a lifetime and can even be fatal.
We have challenges, and those challenges means that the male may be unable or find it difficult to penetrate, may lead to, sometimes led to quarrels that went into physical abuse, some leading to death of the woman.
The worst form is what we call the heroic type, where the entire external genitalia is cut off, and then a tiny little hole is left for the passage of urine, for the passage of, the menstrual flow.
Globally, it is estimated that at least 200 million girls have undergone some form of female genital mutilations, which has led to high mortality rates amongst women and girls.
I won't like to get my daughter to be circumcised.
I can't marry a girl like that because sometimes they will be bleeding.
Experts advocated that leaders of thought in the society should assist curb the practice by supporting the campaign against female genital mutilations. In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
The bond of unity in Yoruba land will grow stronger by the sustenance of the renewed friendship among traditional rulers. This was the message of the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, to the Owa Obokun of Ijesha-land, Oba Adekunle Aromolaran, during his visit to Ijesha-land. Tunji Adepoju has the details.
At the palace of Owa Obokun of Ijesha-land, His Royal Majesty Dr. Gabriel Adekunle Aromolaran was carnival-like. The inner courtroom of the foremost Ilesha monarch hosted the two traditional rulers. Their symbolic visit of the Ooni is a way of saying the past is history and a new dawn is here. The event was witnessed by all the traditional rulers in Ijesha-land. Dr. Yinka Fashuyi is the Ashiwaju of Ijesha-land.
The two paramount rulers in the Yoruba land are meeting, are relating, and are advancing the cause of Yoruba land and Nigeria in general. I am Tunji Adepoju for NTA News.
And that is it from Ibadan. Over back to you, Ronke, for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Kemi. Smooth transfer of power amidst reports of mortal attack in Somalia and UN